Hello, everyone, and welcome to another NGS Knowledge Hub Community feature. My name is Siri Tal, and today we're pleased to welcome Patricia Njuno, the CEO of Ruji Africa. Before we dive into this conversation, I want to give maybe a quick overview of the NGS Knowledge Hub for those who may not yet be aware of the platform. But the NGS Hub aims to build a network of experts and increase awareness of next-generation sanitation technologies across Africa, especially in the face of challenges like water scarcity and high infrastructure costs. And this hub caters to a diverse audience, including buyers, technology manufacturers, policymakers, and advocates, and offers resources such as extensive continental NGS data, curated research, and access to partnership opportunities. And through this series, we're aiming to spotlight key figures and innovators in Africa's water and sanitation sectors. And with that, I'd like to welcome our guest, Patricia Njuna. Patricia, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you
And
for having me.
of course. And maybe to start, could you tell us a bit more about yourself and your background in the wash sector?
Oh, thank you very much. I'm Patricia, and it's been a journey. I've been in water and sanitation for 25 years. Yes. I joined the great industry. Well, I was very young. It was my first job, and I was in billing. And I got really interested on the ground because at that point, I think the problem was service delivery was in terms of we didn't have meters. For example, like the company I used to work for, we didn't have meters. There was not enough water. People were not aware of the sewer. So it's been a journey. I've been in the building sector. I've been in the social platform. I've held the biggest program that our government ever held for the informal settlements, which was called the KYS, which was dealing with the informal settlements. And that's where I got the interest for sanitation because it was really needy. So I can go on and on. Then after the informal settlement, now we started looking at things at policy level where we were trying to say, hold on, when you go for all those conferences and you find that water is becoming more scarce and more scarce, the services are required. Sanitation is actually taking a bigger bite than the water supplies in terms of treatment and disposing and even like moving it from the urban areas to where the sewer treatments are. So yeah.
No, thank you for that. And as you said, there are a lot of problems, obviously, that we face across the continent in terms of sanitation. Maybe now, as the CEO of Ruji Africa, could you share a bit more about what that entails and what type of activities you guys are involved in?
Okay. Now, what happened is when we saw the need and we got involved, I had a privilege of being one of the founders of the Kenyan chapter for young water professionals. That was an IWA initiative, and I was a chair lady for him for about 3 years. So in the process, we really now started looking at policies instead of just service provision. And that's where we came up with the need for addressing the sewer issues. And with the help of AFWA, we actually partnered with AFWA and came up with innovations. And unlike the past where we used to deal with just the billing, where we would try and introduce the postpaid bills and all that, we now came up with how we can come up with ways of helping on the sewer services. We started with the ablution blocks in the informal settlements, where we would have one centered place where the sewer waste will be collected by the tankers. Then in the process, I got to know about our innovation, and I was interested and I took some research. And the two projects that they managed were the BOLT, that is the ICT. They're very advanced in ICT, so they really did well with the BOLT. BOLT is an equivalent of Uber services, where they offer the software, yeah, and the technology for sewer treatment. Now, that is where Ronje was born, because we saw the need to partner with them, and we had what it takes to take it to the next level. And I partnered with the Estonian team. We did a bit of marketing at our government levels, and we managed to get the audience of our president then. And we were given, as through Water Trust Fund, we were given a letter to bring a prototype in our national park in the city called Nairobi. Sorry, I'm giving you stories of I
No,
don't
no,
know.
no.
Yeah. So we brought the innovation there. Now from there, that's where I started really being keen on the sanitation and all that. And in the meantime, I was still following up on the Bill and Melinda innovation. We addressed like our target, and our target, number one, the strategy was for us to be able to really penetrate. We need to talk to the counties. I don't know whether we're together after that. Are we?
I think so, maybe.
Okay, cool. Now, how we operate in Kenya is we have counties. Those are small, like they're small governments on their own. They run their own region. They have their governor. They have all the service providers. So we started looking at things in details, where we said maybe what we should do is we should target the counties at policy level, because these are the people who give the plannings approvals. They're the people who give service provision for water, for, like all those service provisions through the county. So we say the first approach that would be very keen would be to amend the policies, where we say if we are coming up with very big high rises, at least have a requirement. We did our calculations in terms of the output of the services that we provide in terms of water, and the input and the output. The output is sewer, yeah, and we try to look at also the infrastructure. Well, unfortunately, the sewer infrastructure is very expensive in terms of maintenance and even construction. So with this innovation, we thought this could be a very quick win, because we don't need to invest so much money on the infrastructure. We just need the innovations. And that's where we are with the space trip, where we've basically targeted the counties and the amenities for the government, and then now the real estate. However, focusing on our technology, the one that we're talking about now that I'm really interested in, I look forward to a day when we can implement it in our country and maybe in my region, because I feel that's a way to go. Because if we look at the innovation, like what Estonian has done or what we've been doing, most of the time we've just been dealing on small scale. Yeah. Now, in my research that I was given a chance to do by Husky's team, we learned that the quick wins would be like the petrol stations, the parks, because there you're self-contained. There's enough space. If it's like the petrol stations, they have car washes, so there's easy access to water. There's easy access to the sewer. If it's the parks, clearly they're not sewered, so they have septic, So we did quite a bit on that. We focused on the parks, the office malls, and car washes and petrol stations. And we actually even tried to get a total of all. So when you look at that, it's a very good start for us. However, I still believe that the starting point that will be very key for us is at policy making.
Yeah.
Where we have the community, we communicate with them, and we get to the governors, because for us in every area we have the governors. We talk to them, and for them to pass it as a law that any planning that is coming up, this is what is going to happen. The infrastructures that we have, for example, we know where the sewer lines are. We know where our main pipes are. If we are building any service provisions like the ablution blocks, We should target on that. You know why? It's going to be easy access for us to get the water, treat it, and put it back. And as I conclude, I think what really, really excites me about our project is the fact that here we're not going to waste more water, because fresh water is becoming scarce by the day. It doesn't make sense for us to continue using fresh water. Well, we are already on borehole. Like I can tell you, in our capital city, this service provision for fresh water is not enough. So any developer who wants to bring up a high rise of, let's say, and it's become very popular. Now we are just dealing with high rises, and we are not talking of less than 100 households per estate. So if any developer wants to do 100 units and they're doing them for sale, they can afford,
Mhm.
they don't have to go back, unlike the ones that are already done. They can already adapt the technology and start from the word go. So that way they'll save up to, I think, 50% of the water. If you look at, if you handle only the toilets in a unit of, let's say, in an estate of about 100 units, we can save up to 50% of the water that is being lost now. We can save in terms of also personnel, the people who handle all those, like all the pipelines now from where your estate is to where the treatment, because all the treatments are out of the outskirts of the town. Eh? So you can imagine maintaining that infrastructure. So we'll save up a lot on that. But our starting point should be awareness. Let the people own the project. Let the government understand the concept. And to crown it all, the world is speaking because these are resources that are dying slowly. So if we can reserve them, and I want to believe the next generation that will make good use of the technologies we are having are very advanced. You're basically trying to tell them we are saving resources. We are also trying to make the world a better place than it was before, and we're making our work easier. I think that would be really interesting. And that's why I look forward.
No, thank you. And I think that's actually something that resonates a bit across the whole continent, even for us here in Dakar,
Yeah,
where you're dealing with, urbanization, city planning. How
yeah,
can we use our resources efficiently when we know that our resources are also scarce and
yes,
in a lot of cases dwindling.
yeah,
So no, I think that that's a very, very insightful and relatable problem to be tackling. I
yeah.
know that you said now your goal is kind of to scale your impact maybe to a wider scale in terms of just, people impacted. But maybe is there an impact or maybe an achievement that your company has had that you can say today you're super proud to have done this, or kind of in the spirit of that good start that you mentioned, any impacts that you guys have had so far, whether it's on your local ecosystem or otherwise?
The impact that we've had is the fact that people can relate to using seawater. Well, we are very far because when you try to sensitize them, first and foremost, for me, when I got the first experience, I remember tasting the water and I couldn't believe it, because in my head I'm thinking, is this happening? So you can imagine I'm the person who's trying to advocate for it and say this is the way to go, and I still can't hold it. Now imagine that woman in a village, be it West Africa, South Africa, East Africa, trying to tell them that, but the truth of the matter is we just need to sensitize them for them to understand they've been drinking this water a long time. Because the water that was treated, actually, sorry to say so, but that's my take. It was happening a long time. It's only that you were not aware, because you don't know the process it takes. So for us to be able to convince them that, hold on, this is sewer water, but we're basically telling you that this sewer water can be used for better things. That one, I can tell you we achieved it, because today we use the same water for the parks. We haven't gotten to that stage where we can convince that you can use water to drink, but we can use it for the park. We have one special car wash that I know in my area that uses the same water to recycle. We also have a few companies that had tried before our technology. We had small companies that would come and try to recycle the water at a level of irrigation. So I can say the achievement is people are aware that water is scarce, not only by awareness, but by factual. Because like in our area, for us to be able to have just the proper supply of a normal homestead, we have to subsidize it with the borehole. In some areas, the boreholes are not very the water is not consumable, or if you use it, it will end up staining your utensils or the toilets and what, So if we sensitize these people who are already living in that problem and tell them, listen, we have a solution. Yeah, the way to go is let's stop struggling with the underground water. Let's reserve what we have by inventing the new technology. The only challenge I have seen is the capital, the startup. And that's why the governments, the big institutions, if you're a developer and you're developing a whole estate, household of about 500 people, because that's very common in Nairobi, and you're selling it, sorry, you're selling it to the middle class that can an average of about 30 million Kenya shillings, let's say 20 million. 20 million is about $200, thereabout, yeah? $200,000. If you can afford to sell those houses, you can afford to give them a technology like what we're trying to market. So the only way to get it there is to make sure it's part of the policy. But for you to make sure it's part of the policy, you have to sensitize, you have to invite all these developers, you have to show them the gains. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to sell these houses and you don't have enough supply water, if you're going to drill a borehole worth, let's say 2 million shillings just to drill it, then you have the pump, then you have just drilling a borehole that you're not sure of the outcome of all that water and how long it's going to last, because you have to keep servicing it. And here you're saying, we have a technology, this is the way to go. And that capital you'd have used for the boreholes and all that, you can use it. The same toilets, fittings and all that you'd have done, you would have still done it, but now you're doing it with the new technology. And the people who will buy will actually save up on their day-to-day life almost to 50%. Then there we're home and dry. Yeah.
Thank you. And maybe for my last question, it's technically a two-part question. Maybe I'll start with this one. And I think it actually connects to your point. What type of role, knowing what the NGS Knowledge Hub is seeking to do, notably with, I think, sensitizing and doing advocacy to people like policymakers, communities,
Yes.
etc. What
Yeah.
type of role do you think the Knowledge Hub can play in the WASH ecosystem across the continent?
Workshops, networks. Once we hold a workshop, we follow it up with the key people. We make sure that the people we invite you, because you see, most of the time, I'm sorry to say so, I'm an African. I'm very proud of I'm very humbled being an African. But the only problem where we fail is because we just do things without a follow-up. Let's say we hold all those seminars and we don't. And then the people we're inviting, we have to make sure that they're key players. They're the ones who are going to move our dream to the next level. So for me, I think the strategy is we be very candid on the targeted educate, because you see that's also going to cost us. Yeah. Then from there, once we have the policymakers, once we have the goodwill of the decision makers, now we let the community own it. Because after we have the goodwill, you make sure the people who are marketing, you tell them when you're marketing, you have all the information. So if it can be bought in one, let's say one big estate, and it works, all the other developers will go back to them and tell them, listen, go to the people who used our technology, look at what they've done, look at how much they're saving, talk to the customers, see how happy they are. If you're doing another development, so you know what? At that point, the technology we have is not a common thing. It can't be just copy and paste, you know? It's not like the one you say, oh, this is a booming business, so I can just go to the shops and buy this technology and come and sell. No, we will be the sole agents because for other people to get there, I can tell you for free, all the innovations I've seen, even the ones that have been funded in our country, nothing beats our technology today. So by the time people get to where we are, we are very advanced. Maybe we are now teaching them how to how to do something different, you know?
Yes, I see exactly. And then maybe for the second part of the question,
Yeah.
what type of value do you think that the Knowledge Hub would have for an organization like yours?
Sorry?
What value do you think the NGS Knowledge Hub would have for an organization like Ruji Africa?
Uh, First and foremost, this is not something that is in the common domain. So even you being part of the technology and having the know-how, you're already on top of things. Because I can assure you, um, in my region, let me speak for what I know, in East Africa, we don't have such an innovation that has gotten to that level. So you being among the first people to know that, that's a very big quick win for you. You're in business, you want to sell something that's well, it has its pros and cons, eh? When you're introducing something new, it's very, but if you're introducing it to the right people with the right data, like the way we started by doing our research and saying, hold on, if, for example, I go to a county A and I tell them, in your county, we have so many toilets, we have so many social, you use so much money in collecting, in servicing all these toilets and all that. I'm giving you an option. You will use this as a capital, but at the end of the year, you're going to have saved, you would have recovered what you used. And the following years, you're going to save, you know,
Mhm.
for you having that, the head that we have, clearly we are ahead of time. And it's just a matter of implementing and putting our hub together, talking to the right people and trusting the process. I was privileged. I was privileged when this technology was just starting. I can tell you I was among the 1 minute, 1 minute. Sorry.
No, no, no worries.
When the research was happening in East Africa, I was privileged because I was among the people who were hands-on in Kenya.
Mhm.
I got a chance to meet Dr. Kone. I got a chance to take him to all the treatment works and, you know, so I've walked a journey quite a bit. I slagged behind some time. I can tell you they're way advanced, but I know I believe in it. Again, uh, when we look at all this, for example, if we get a big estate or a good institution and we have these units together, they benefit because they can also tap into the energy, you know, you understand. So there's a lot. We are just starting, but if we do it right the first time, sky's the limit. Sky's the limit. Yeah,
Absolutely. Yes.
yeah.
Thank you for that. And with that, I think we're coming to the end of this interview. Before we conclude, is there anything else that you want to add or something that you feel like you didn't get to say?
I feel like I'm the one who's doing all the talking. So maybe I'd like your input at this point.
My-
To because I believe iron sharpen irons, and I believe there is a part maybe I skipped or a part that should help me. We are all in our main agenda is to build each other and to remind each other where they've forgotten what is key. So maybe with your expertise, where do you think me being an ambassador, I would maybe focus on or address more? Is there a place you feel like I didn't address?
No, honestly, I feel like it was quite comprehensive.
Oh,
And
good, good.
one thing that struck me, at least, especially when you were talking about I think when you approach the Knowledge Hub as somebody who has, a technology, and as you said, a technology that's very advanced and
Yeah,
sometimes is even above and beyond what else is done, but that doesn't exist in the public domain or is not well known. I
yeah,
think, as you kind of said, there's a very big value to being able to market it or introduce it to the right people,
yeah,
and the people who actually make, a real impact and
yeah,
change. I think to me that really kind of drives home the point or the significance of the Knowledge Hub, especially for companies like your own,
yeah.
who may have great technology, great ideas, great innovations, but maybe need to make sure it gets to the
The
right.
right, yeah, yeah.
uh, but no, I really thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing all of your insights. It's been a pleasure to learn about everything that Ruji Africa does, which is clearly very important and very innovative work. So
Yeah.
thank you again for giving us the time to come on this community feature.
All right. Thank you. Before we end, I'd like to bring something to your attention. Like the Estonian technology, the only thing that I can say, well, I so far I haven't seen our technology because we were supposed to go to South Africa to benchmark and see what they're doing, but because of COVID and so many things, the only thing the Estonian beats us with is ICT
Mm.
because they're known. That's the only thing. But if you come to their technology and what we put together, yeah, their technology is at the very basic level, but they control it from Estonia. The same way they control the bolts, like they when it comes to ICT. So I'm also hoping that our technology is also advanced to that level where we can just remote control, because that's the only thing that was their marketing line,
Mhm.
where you're told you don't need many workers, you can do it at the fingertips. If there's a problem, you'll be able to know. I haven't been able to get that privilege to see our technology face to face, but I think that's the only thing I would want to bring to their attention. That's the only thing. All the others are at a very low level. They're at the level we started with the technology of the rural technology, where
Mhm.
we were building pit latrines and you come up with a way. Yeah, it's a very small improvement of that. The only thing is now it's computerized.
Yeah.
So when you look at ours and that again, okay, I'm a bit chatty, so I'd like to stop there.
No worries. Thank you again for
Yeah,
joining us. Thank you so much for your time. And
yeah.
thank you to everyone who's watching this NGS Knowledge Hub feature. We hope to see you again. Thank you.
I hope to see